It's incredible how many things that we've been taught about what it takes to be successful, and then the beliefs that are stored in our brains that you have to be more of this, not so much this. You better not upset anybody, but you also better not be too quiet. You better not be too thin and too fit and unrelatable, but you also better not be too heavy. You better not be too old because then you'll be invisible, but can't be too young because then you're not going to have enough authority. And it goes on and on and on. And what I'm doing in today's interview with my guest, Nancy Medoff, who is the best-selling author and podcast host of Unmute Yourself, is we are unmasking what it looks like going to your next level of success. Because what you're seeing online, the pretty pictures that people paint, maybe they share some stuff after the fact, but I want to normalize the nitty gritty on when you think nothing is working. In fact, you think your manifestations, your desires, what you're wanting to achieve are so far away from you and you've taken 80 steps backwards. In fact, it's all part of it. And this episode will be undeniable proof for you. Nancy is also a client of mine and a mastermind student. So you're going to hear about what she experienced at my 2-day ProjectME mastermind experience last year and what results have occurred since then, almost a year out. I think it's really important to hear that because so many of us sign up and go to events, we go to conferences, we go to seminars, we sign up for programs, and we get this like instant boost of a rah motivation. We get stuffed full of tons of information. But then what happens is we end up coming back home, having all these great ideas, but end up more overwhelmed than ever because there's so much information, not sure what to apply first, and then nothing really happens. And then the shame sets in, the guilt sets in, and then you get upset with yourself. My mastermind is designed for that to not happen because I've had it happen to me so many times. And you're going to hear how that looks from the perspective of someone who has been there and done that. And let me tell you, it's not all a pretty picture, okay? There's all different facets of growth that are contained in Nancy's story, and I can't wait for you to hear this incredible ride that she's been on. And we like to say journey, but let's be honest, sometimes this is a roller coaster ride. In fact, most of the time. If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash-making advice. Now let's get to it. There is nothing more frustrating as a business owner than pouring your heart and soul into creating an offer, into creating a service, sharing it on repeat, putting it out there in all the ways. And then you're getting crickets in return, or you're just getting a bunch of excuses from people instead of people saying, I need this now. Where do I sign up? How can I pay? Send me the link. Does this sound familiar? This is happening a lot lately to people. And here's the hard truth. It's not about what you're offering. It's not about the pricing of your offer. It's not even about you. It's not about that you're doing it wrong. It's about your positioning of the offer. The difference between an offer that sells out and one that gets ignored comes down to a few simple, powerful tweaks. And I'm doing something I've never done before in an exclusive free live training that's coming up on August 28th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, where I am going to teach you how to get your offers to have people want to buy them right now instead of them being a someday option. Why am I doing this for free? Because I was once where you're at, and we're coming up onto the biggest, most profitable money making season online. That's from September 15th to January 15th. And I do not want you to miss out on all the sales that you can get simply because your positioning of your offer is askew. And we just need to take a couple turns, make a few tweaks to get that popping in the cash. Okay. So you want to sign up and make sure that you get one of the few live spots. So we're doing it on Zoom. So the live spots are limited. You can go to projectmewithtiffany.com/special training. It's also, if you swipe up inside the show notes and here in the description on YouTube on Project Me TV. And then everyone who registers will also get the replay for a 10-day period. And then I will be charging for it. Because I want to make sure if you're on a time zone where you absolutely can't attend live or you miss getting one of the few live spots in this, that you still get to benefit from this training. So go to projectmewithtiffany.com/special training, and I'll see you there. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your abundance, your relationships, and everything in between. Well, buckle up. You're in for a treat. This is next level, zero fucks given. That's happening right now with my client, my friend, Nancy Medoff. And we decided we need to kick off this episode so that you realize that you're not imagining things and you're not crazy. The state of affairs that our world is in is absolutely a shit show. And it's not that you're overly sensitive, that you can't handle the world, that maybe something is wrong with you. That's what some people might want you to believe. I'm telling you, it is out of hand. It is unhinged. What do you have to say about this, Nancy?
I am nodding and nodding and nodding and nodding. Yeah. So the way we started talking about this, we started with the topic of people celebrating, and this is not about politics, celebrating assassinations. There was an assassination, there was an attempted assassination, and everywhere on social media, people are rabid about it, like rabid. And I just, and I find myself getting caught up in it too. Like, oh, I have my own opinions, but this is like, it's just nuts. The whole world's nuts. The whole world's nuts.
The stuff that I'm seeing around violence, like,
I
what
know.
are we
This is
going
right.
back in fucking time? This is wild to me. Like, this is not okay. And I feel like people who are more awake, who've done a lot of work, who are people who are emotionally evolved, this can feel right now like it's so heavy and it's so much and it's so intense and it's going to take you off your game for your business, for your health, for your own mental wellness. And I just want to start by validating you, but also you can't let it take you off your game. That's what it's designed to do. They want you, the big they want you off your game, destabilized and broke so you can be controlled.
100%. 100%. Totally agree with you. It is all designed. Everything you consume is presented to you with an end game in mind. Everything. Nothing's just random. You think that the news are you're a newscaster. It's not random.
It is not random. And there's a saying in the newsrooms, how toxic is this? If it bleeds, it leads.
Yep.
And you get low key excited if you're assigned the most disgusting, horrid story because you know it's going to lead. And if there's nothing to lead the news with that's like horrifying enough, it's a problem in the newsroom that day. And they will find something negative to lead. And so therefore I don't watch it. So you've got to be more intentional about what you're taking in now more than ever. Conversations with family members, it could be your partner, okay? Like there's people I love that are really on one about all the politics,
Mhm.
okay? And that I respect. Everyone has their opinion, but it's like this negative excitement and they're on a rant about it. I have my own boundaries around it. I will politely excuse myself from a conversation. I'll
Mhm.
say I have to go on the phone. I can't take all that in. If I do, my nervous system is a disaster. And then that is an energy leakage that is being taken away from income generating activities and joy generating activities in my life. And therefore, it serves no one.
So my family was just here for my I don't know if you knew I had a birthday. Like, you could not
I did say
turn
happy
on
birthday.
any channel. You did. So I had a big birthday. My family was here. Somebody brought up politics. It was not even either side. They simply brought up politics, and I said, "I would prefer we not talk about politics this weekend. It's my birthday, and I am not talking about politics." My whole family was here, 8 people. I'm like, "Nope, not talking about it.
And
No."
what's interesting, and we're going to get into it because this story is fascinating and will show you and be undeniable proof of what happens when you really go all in. A lot of people talk about going all in. I talk about going all in, like don't toe dip, don't be in purgatory. You either are all in or don't bother. That's facts. But what it really looks like, the trajectory over a year versus what a lot of people try to sell you, what you want to even buy into, because all of us want the path of least resistance, right? Like the instant results, the instant fame, the virality, all the stuff. And you're going to hear with her story of what this really looks like over the course of a little under a year of how much your life can change and the highs and the lows and the wildness of it all. And I mean, Nancy ran for office
I did. I won
and won.
and won.
I was dead when I was seeing the signs, like the signs for those of you guys who are outside the US. And then you're also going to laugh because you know Americans, we're a disaster and narcissistic. We're narcissistic as a country, basically. And we have the signs where it has your name. Like, how crazy was that? You're driving around and it's like, there's Nancy Medoff. Were you
Yes,
like,
everywhere.
what is my life right now?
Everywhere. I was actually I was sick of seeing my signs. Like, the first time you see it, I'm like, "Oh, this is really cool." And I had my little slogan, and it was great. And then by the end, I'm like, "Oh my God, if I see one more of these signs, like, I'm sick of me. How can everybody else not be sick of me?" But in America, this is what you need to it's marketing is what it is. It
All
is brand recognition.
everything is.
Right.
And
Right.
it actually happens all over the world. It's just that we're more, I guess you could say, front facing and aggressive with it, right?
A little bit. A little bit.
A
Yeah,
little
we
bit.
had
I'm sick of myself by the end of every week. And fun tip here, and we're going to sprinkle in some really good things for you that you can apply to your own life. If you are not sick of yourself by the end of every week and you have a business, then you're not promoting your business or your offers enough. Period.
here's why I'm laughing. You are 100% correct. Like, okay, so everybody that's listening, this Tiffany that you see on your pod or here on the podcast or see on YouTube, this is Tiffany. Like, that's it. There's no, this is it. 100% authentic. And she says it in a way that I can understand it. And then I live it. I agree. I'm like, yep, just what you said. If I'm like, oh, if I'm not sick of myself by the end of the week, then I didn't do as much as I probably could have or wanted to. Not should, because I don't say should. I don't like that word. And it's funny because I'm like, you just need to be like, if I post one more story, I'm just gonna chuck my phone out the window. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do if you want to play at that level.
Exactly. If and it's an if. Not everyone wants to play at that level, but you can't trick yourself into thinking I want the reward of playing at that level. I want to run for public office and win. I want to bring in millions of dollars. I want to be a well known public speaker. I want a book that people are excited and eager to buy. I want all this while playing it kind of small and safe. I promise you, I tried that route with my first business for many years. There is nothing more fucking exhausting and discouraging than going that way. That's why when I tell you, there's a lot of things in life where there's gray area. But when it comes to this stuff, it's all in or don't bother.
Totally agree.
Can you
Totally agree.
half-ass run for a race and expect that you would have a shot at winning?
No, you can't, because you because there is nothing. It was probably one of the biggest challenges of my life, probably, really. And you have to be committed. You have to really want it, not think you want it. You have to really want it, because you'll be tested, just like in your business. You'll be tested, you'll be challenged, you'll be exhausted, and you have to really truly want it, because if you don't, you'll either quit or you'll phone it in and you'll lose. This is a great analogy. I'm glad we're talking about this. So compare it to your business. If you don't really want what it is that you are telling yourself you want, or that you think you want, or that you think people want you to say you want, and you go after getting it and you phone it in, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. And then you'll just be like, "Oh, well, it wasn't meant to be." Sure, it was meant to be. It was meant to be. You just didn't really want it as much as you thought you did, or at all.
Or you wanted the out and the self-fulfilling prophecy of, see, it isn't possible. See all these people that say to do this. And, Nancy is one of her main things is unmute yourself. She's about like speaking up for yourself as she casually drinks her coffee that is on brand with the sticker on it, which makes me so happy. And you will set yourself up to go, oh, well, it was for Nancy, it was for Tiffany, it wasn't for me. But underneath it all, if you really want it, then you have to show up even when you look like you are fucking losing. And that is very hard on our ego, on your nervous system. And it is not for the faint of heart, and you can't do it alone. And like Nancy said, you will be tested. So we're going to get into the story, because I learned very well by examples, like real life practical examples, not some of these like obvious examples. I like the deeper, chewier stuff. And this is going to be that for you. I think this story really starts when Nancy is a private client of mine. I'm like, you have to come to my mastermind. I don't say this to people. She's dying. She's like, oh God, I remember. I don't say this to people like to sell spots. I don't have to fucking do that. That's
Right.
not my style. That's not what I teach.
Right.
When I do say it to someone, it's because I know what the return on that investment of time, energy, and money is going to be. Not necessarily instantaneous return, but like near future return. I said this to her. There's no one who's a harder sell than Nancy or me. I'm not an easy sell either. That's why I know how to coach her. You were a tough sell. Wow, did you give me? I mean, I'm talking multi-layer, in-depth obstacles.
Every excuse, every excuse, every excuse. If I were you, I would have told me to FO. I would have been like, you know what? Don't cost
At one point, I just went, listen, if I'm telling you this is what needs to happen, but I'm not going to push you on it, right?
Oh
Like you
no.
have to come to that.
Do you want to know what you said?
What did I say?
Our last conversation, you said, "I am not having this conversation again. You need to make a decision." This was after, like, you said it a little nicer than that. You said it nicer than that. But you're like, "Listen, yes, but we're done. This is it. This is the last time we're having. You need to make a decision." Like, this was weeks of back and forth, weeks.
Yes.
And oh wow, and it was in my head. I'm like, "Yeah, I want to go." And then I was like, "Well, I have to speak later in the week. It's all the way across the country. Where am I going to stay? If I can get a hotel." I mean, it
I do the
was absurd.
same thing. And what's interesting is the things we resist the most are exactly the things that we need. And the resistance is so strong because that's where the growth is. Like a lot of people who, like my fitness coach, the stuff he has me do that is tedious that I fucking hate when he goes,
Mhm.
you've got to do the step ups. And I'm like, not today. And he's like, if not today, then when? And then he gives me a look and I'm like, fuck, I've got to do it. I don't want to, but it's what stabilizes my knees. And ultimately, it's not sexy. It's boring. It's horrible. But ultimately, that's why I haven't had to have knee surgery. So it's like, take a look at what you're resisting the most. And instead of leaning into the resistance, get curious about it. Why
Mhm.
am I
Mhm.
being so resistant about this? This
Mhm.
is really interesting. So Nancy, Nancy comes, which I knew intuitively she was going to be there. Okay. I just knew it. I knew
I
she.
did not, for the record, I did not.
So Nancy shows up and tell us, because I just learned of this conversation,
Yeah.
and tell me what happened. Was it when I was like teaching something that this happened?
So yeah, let me set the stage. So this everything that you're reading or hearing about the mastermind is 100% correct. It's in this beautiful beach house. It's Tiffany and her dream team, access to all of her team. Think about that. All of her team. They're there sitting right with you. So I was sitting at the round table in your kitchen, off to the side of the kitchen. And I think it was the second day. It might have been the first. No, it was the second. And I said, I looked over at Brenda Johnston, who was there and is now a dear friend, would not have met her. That's the other thing about the mastermind that I want to make sure we talk about is the people, because that's really, really important. And Brenda is a energy mentor and subconscious mindset strategist. And I said, that this is it. I'm going big. This is it. This is my moment right now. And very calmly, very Brenda-esque, she said, well, what if you reach that next level and it's not really what you want? And I'm like, excuse me? She said, so she repeated it. What if you get to that next level and it's not really what you want? And I was like, of course it's what I want. What do you look? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, shush. And then, so we did the thing. I left the mastermind and I want to say within 3 weeks, boom, boom, boom. I mean, it might have been 3 months. I can't remember, but I got so busy, like good busy. I got so many, I don't want to say the word busy because busy doesn't necessarily mean you're running your business well.
Right.
All of these incredible clients came in, public speaking clients, client after client after client after client. And I was like, I don't even know what's happening right now. It was nuts. I couldn't keep up. And about 3 months later, maybe I got burnt out, like full burnout because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't. I thought I was. I'm like, what do you mean? Of course I'm ready. And I wasn't. And my subconscious mind was not aligned with my conscious mind. And it took a burnout for me to really say, okay, time out. You got to level set and really figure out what you want. And you know what? Maybe you don't want to be a multimillionaire. Maybe you only want $1 million. Maybe, I don't know what you only that, but you need to be clear on what you want because if you're not clear on what you want and it's not truly, truly your desire, the only one you're fooling is yourself, and it will come out eventually. It'll come out eventually,
And
like mine did.
sometimes the only way you can start learning what you want and don't want is by doing it. So this had to happen this way for Nancy to do this, right? She had to have an influx of clients and abundance and oh my god, all the things that I wanted in a subject matter that she's an expert in, that she's passionate about. And you had to have it happen in this way to go, whoa, like, yes, I like the money and I like helping people, but like, not like this.
Yeah, yeah. It
So
was
then what happened when you got burned out? Did you go into a cocoon and hide? Taking a quick break so that we can get your revenue popping in your business without you having to do more and leaving you feeling burnt out. If you're putting your offers out there and they feel good to you, but you're not attracting your ideal clients, you're getting a bunch of people who are filled with excuses, and you want an expert to be able to identify your blind spots in your business and show you the exact steps to fill those gaps so that you can start making consistent cash in your business and continuously growing and set up your business to scale versus ending up stalled several times a year and leaving you in a panic, your move is to come to my once a year, 2-day in person mastermind experience here in Manhattan Beach, California. There are only 48 hours left for you to get the pre launch sale pricing of $1,000 off. Then we will be opening this up to the public where there'll be ads and all the things, and the rest of the spots will sell out. We're over 50% sold out right now. And if you want to make sure that you condense all the time that you've wasted, all the revenue you've left on the table into a 2 full days with me and my team and be able to skyrocket your sales as we're coming up on the prime time money making season of the year, September 15th through January 15th. This is your absolute move to stack the odds in your favor to have major success online. Go to projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind and you can swipe up. That link is in the show notes. It is also in the description here on YouTube and in my link in bio on Instagram and TikTok at Project Me with Tiffany. You have 48 hours left for the pre-launch sale pricing of $1,000 off. So stop procrastinating. You've heard what Nancy had to say about the mastermind. She spelled it out with you in more detail than I could have ever done for you from the perspective of an attendee. And if this resonates with you, even if you're scared, make a move. You make a big move. That's where the big money follows. Continuing to make small moves, that's okay, but it's not going to get you to where you want to go in that next level in your business. Don't kid yourself. I did that for years. There's a reason I designed this mastermind experience exactly how it is to get you where you want to go and get you there quickly without you losing your damn mind.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because I just came out, well, I came out of it a few months ago. Yeah, you know what, I can always tell this is interesting. My eyes, I can tell in my eyes, this might sound strange. My eyes look tired. And I'm not talking about you wake up and you're tired. This was like, I was looking at pictures of myself and I was like, wow, I was exhausted. And I was blowing stuff off. Like I was not returning inquiries.
Which is
I'm a
not
20,
like, I mean, you guys
right. I'm
don't
a
know Nancy yet, but that's not like
25-year
her.
salesperson,
High
right?
integrity,
Right. Right.
you very big corporate career, like how like pretty similar to my corporate life
Yeah.
where we have it ingrained in us, like you reply, you're professional, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So I was not acting with integrity. I was not living with integrity. And by integrity, I wasn't showing up as the best version of myself. And I'm like, then a timeout. I think I took like maybe a week or two off, nothing, nothing. Now, when you work for yourself, which we all do, you take a week off, that's fine. There's people that can cover for me, but that's significant. That's a week of me not managing my business or not running my business and not coming up with new ideas and phoning it in. And I went completely dark for like a week and I could barely even speak. It was pretty scary actually.
Did
And I remember,
did that conversation that you had with Brenda at the mastermind pop up in your head at some point when you were burnt out?
no, here's when it popped up. I was talking to Brenda and I was telling her about, no, we were doing a Thrive Live together and we were talking about burnout. And after the Thrive Live, she said, "Do you remember when I told you that this might happen?" And I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" She said, "When we were sitting at the round table." And I said, "Oh my God, I do remember." I didn't know. I didn't because I so disregarded the conversation because I was like, of course I want it. Like, thank you. But I didn't disregard Brenda because she's
Right,
awesome.
right.
The conversation
Because this
that
was
it
in
didn't
your
know.
subconscious, right? Not your conscious mind.
Right.
So it was your
Right.
conscious that rejected that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was, man, was it right.
Why do you think that and this is only one part of the story. Why do you think that happened for you? Not to you, but it happened for you.
you know, I might get emotional. I I didn't want to admit that deep down, this goal that I had been aiming for almost my whole life, I didn't want it anymore. I didn't. And I'm not saying that I don't want to be successful. I'm not saying I don't want to help women. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I call it the Mel Robbins goal, right? And you and I have talked about this. The only difference between Mel and me or you, and I total cred to Mel. She has done the work. She's extremely smart. She shows up every day. She busts her ass. Like she deserves every success she has. I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to get on a plane every week. I do not want to be on a plane every week. And if
Even if, and I'm asking you,
yeah,
even if, because it's not, this is why proof that it's about more than money. Even if it's you're getting the Mel Robbins rate, we just want you for an hour, 100 grand, first class, private car service, hair and makeup, bibbity bobbity boo.
not at that level of frequency. I don't.
See,
I don't. I don't. And I was getting, my speaker fees are up there. They're not 100K, but they're getting up there. And I just turned down a speaking gig because it would have required me, it would have inconvenienced me. It would have inconvenienced my personal life. And I'm like, I'm not, no, it's not, uh, no, no.
so this is something that happened that had to happen as a result of you being willing to go through the resistance, show up at the mastermind, how the universe decide to have it play out. You got the influx of abundance. You got what you were manifesting. This is what you were manifesting. Like
100%.
you got it.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh shit, maybe I don't want it in this way. Maybe this isn't my thing. And there's something much deeper here than money that equals that freedom that I'm looking for.
Yes. It was, I didn't want it at that level.
What do
And
you mean by that level? Do you mean dollar amount or do you mean like
yeah,
intensity?
both. No, intensity, I would say. That's a good question. I think I mean, so let's say I want to be Mel Robbins. I really don't, because I don't want to to your point, I don't I don't care what you're paying me. I don't know. Like I want to be able to pick and choose what I do. And she does, and I do, and you do, and that's great. But to get that blockbuster success, you have to put the time in and you have to put the work in, and not all the time. We work less, earn more. That's what we do around here at Project
Yeah.
Me. But if you're building a speaking career, you can't work less. You have to go on stage, and you have to go on stage in big arenas and on big stages if you want that level of success. You have to.
Just like if you're a music artist and you want to continue success as a music artist, your ass has to go on tour. It's part of the game.
Exactly.
If you want
Exactly.
like a Taylor Swift
Right.
situation, right?
Yep.
Like that's part of the game. And this is part of that game. What's interesting to me then is when did you have the idea of I'm going to run for office because that sounds like that's not going to burn me out. And this sounds more aligned.
I had no idea, by the way, how rigorous running for office would be. It is rigorous.
Like
And it
you knew
is,
it wasn't easy. You're not like born yesterday, right? Or did you think it was going to be kind of easy?
I'm like, I'll do a few meet and greets. It's a very small town. So I'm in a very small town on Cape Cod, 2,000 people. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do a few meet and greets. Like, I'll give a few speeches, be fine. This is what I do, right? I'm a 25-year sales veteran. That's what I do. It was rigorous. So imagine, here's how I would describe this. Imagine interviewing for a job And everyone at the company gets to vote as to whether or not you get that job. That's what running
Wow.
for office is. That's what running for office is.
Very vulnerable, very exposed.
Uh,
Oof.
mhm. Totally exposed. Totally exposed.
And I actually, at first, I thought, oh, my first thought was, oh, it's a small town, so that wouldn't be as scary. But actually, when I think about it, it's a million times scarier because you can't go to the grocery store and people not know who Nancy Medoff is and them not have an opinion.
Right. Yep. There's no more like I'm gonna go run out and get a cup of coffee. That anything that used to take me 5 or 10 minutes, it's an hour. It's an hour. The post office, an hour. Cup of coffee, an hour. An hour. But and I'm not I love it. I love it. But yeah, it's
So what happened? We need to understand.
mhm.
I need to also understand. Where did you go from, I am going to help women grow their public speaking careers while
Mhm.
I'm continuing to do my public speaking career, to now I'm going into politics?
So I never viewed it as politics. What happened was there was a couple of open positions in my town. And I truly believed, and I still do, that I can help. Like I have the skill set. I see what's happening in town. I see that we need some different approaches and different decision making and different thinking and or forward thinking rather. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to run. And I'm like, okay, my business will take a hit, but that's okay, right? I want to slow down a little bit anyway. This is how all this came together. I want to slow down a little bit anyway. This will force me to slow down a little bit with my
You
business.
realize when you say that how wild that sounds.
Not really. I don't. I don't. I don't.
This is going to force me to slow down while I'm running for a public office.
Yeah. This is going to force me to slow down my business. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I'm like, oh, I'm just, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll put, I'll throw out a few signs. I'll have a few coffee meetings. Everything will be fine. So I'm like, all right. And I actually calculated how much of a hit financially my business would take. And I'm like, okay, fine. I can afford it. No problem. And, or how much I thought it would take a hit. So then for 12 weeks, I did nothing but run for office. It was, I worked maybe 5 hours a week in my business. I couldn't, this is, I don't even know how to describe it. Campaigning is all the time, all the time. It is
If you
creating,
want to win,
if you want to win. Right. Right. If you want to win. Yeah.
this is the game. The
This
game
is the game.
is, it is
This is the game.
literally even on your free time, you're campaigning.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely. So there was a website, there were flyers, there were mailers, oh yeah, there were signs. This is funny because, or this is interesting. So I ordered like maybe 25 signs. I ordered 25 signs. It's fine. It's a small town. I ended up with over 100 signs because I kept running out because people were like, "Can I have one of your signs? Can I have one of your signs?" And I'm like, "Wow, this is like wow, oh, yeah, 20." I'm like, "I have 25 signs. It's fine. It's fine."
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
When did it start getting ugly?
So I am not a politician and I hate politics. And in fact, I left my corporate job because I hated the politics. That's why I left. Right.
Same.
Right. And I never in a million years considered this politics. I see a need. I think I can help. I'm going to help with this town. I'm going to do my thing for 3 years and then figure it out after that. Like, I think I can help. It got ugly and I laugh now. So again, this is a small town, and this ties back to when we opened with the world has gone mad. Tiny small town. Like I could probably find out what you had for breakfast in this town
Yeah,
if I
like
tried.
if you're not familiar with Cape Cod, or you're like from, all of my internationals listening, almost think of even like an island,
Mhm.
right? Like an island in the Caribbean or
It is an
something.
island. Yeah. This is the only one. There's a bridge. You have to go over a bridge. Anyway, so there were 4 people running for 2 spots. It got ugly when one of the men that was running started giving play-by-plays of like, I'm not making this up, okay? Well, Nancy Medoff just went into the bathroom at this public meeting, and she went into the bathroom with someone else. And when she came out, she had a big smile on her face. What do you think they were talking about in the bathroom? No joke. No joke.
What?
Yep. Yep. And then it went that, and that was all over Facebook. I'm like, what? And then there were memes made about me, memes,
I
negative
mean,
memes.
were any of them like excellent, like well done? We could
Well, my
appreciate them.
photo looked good. I mean, it was a good picture
Well,
of me.
thank
So
God.
there's that, right? No, and none of it was true, by the way. The things that they were memeing me about were not true. That's the other thing that's gone the way people have gone mad in the world. People can you can say whatever you want and there's no
And if
consequence.
enough people say it and it's out there enough, people it's fake, it's the fake news problem. Then people just believe it as fact
Mhm.
versus actually taking the time to see if it is true.
Oh, campaigns in writing against me of with things that were not true. They were not true. And I'm like, I can make a stink about this. I can go to the papers. I can, but the more I make a stink about it, the more it's gonna shine a spotlight on it. So I'll tell you what's interesting, Tiff. What I did was I ran my campaign with honesty and integrity and to the best of my ability. And that is what got me elected. That is what got me the most votes out of anyone.
How did you manage your own personal mental health when you're having all these people spread things that are lies about you? I mean, like, I know with my childhood wounding, even though I've had like a million years of healing work and therapy, oof, I don't know. I personally, well, first of all, I can't run for office. I would be immediately disqualified, I'm sure, for something in my
Nope,
past.
you
But
wouldn't. You'd be great.
I would be in a like a fetal position.
I think it's interesting because somebody, when I was talking to them, I said, I don't have very thick skin. And they said, you'll grow it. You'll grow thick skin. And I remember thinking like that was an interesting comment. Now, like if there's something about me in the paper that's not true, it doesn't even phase me. You can
Zero
say
fucks given.
true, zero fucks given. That's the way I like to sing it, just so you know.
So you
Um,
thought you went into it
with
with the
ZFG.
ZFG, and you did. You did where you were at that level, right? You were at one level. This took you, you strengthened this ZFG muscle to an Olympic level, it sounds like.
Yes. Yes. My family, I mean, this was not cool. And the reason why I think that I truly give zero fucks at this point is because more people, more people out there get it than I think people realize. And I had a lot of people come up to me and say, you stayed out of it. I blocked all these people on social media, all the crazies. You stayed out of it. You held your head high. You stayed, and strangers would say, I'm really proud of you that you did that. And one guy said this to me and I burst out crying
Yeah.
because I'm like, thank God someone's noticing.
And more
Like,
people, there really are at the end of the day, way more supporters than there
yes,
are
yes,
haters. It's
yes.
just that the haters are so loud and nasty and mean. It can feel like they're everyone hates you and there's way more of them, but it's just not true. And if you
Right.
gave too many fucks, you would have lost the election, is my guess.
I would have lost the election. And there was a tipping point where I said, okay, I could drop out. I can do whatever I want. I can drop out. Like I wasn't doing this for me. I was not doing this for me. I was doing it for my town. And there was a point where I'm like, all right, you know what? I don't care. I could quit. Oh, fine. I don't need this. And I'm like, you know what? No, that's how I knew I really wanted it. That's how I knew I really wanted it because I'm like, no, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going because this is important. And I think I need to do this.
I
And that's
think
how you,
this is a great piece of advice that you can apply to any area of your life, whether it's a marriage, whether it's what you're doing in your business, whether it's a current offer of yours, is give yourself permission to quit and then see how that feels in your body. I do this often, probably once a month. I say, like, I can quit all of this. Like, I don't have to do this shit.
nope.
Like, It usually happens after getting like crazies, stuff like that, where I'm like, I don't need to deal with this. This is shit. I don't have to be in
Right.
this. And maybe I get like that for a day, but ultimately the pull is not to quit. The pull is to always keep going.
And that's what I would say if you're procrastinating something, and I just wrote about this in one of my newsletters. If you keep procrastinating something, you're not procrastinating. You're protecting yourself. You talk about this. You just sent out
Cause
one of your secret sauces.
I'm a procrastinator for
Mm,
sure. And
right.
it always is, I'm protecting myself.
You're
It's not that
protecting. Yep.
Tiffany's like a lazy piece of shit or, all the stuff we say to ourselves. We're protecting ourselves from some perceived sacrifice or threat.
If you're not signing up for the mastermind, right? Like when I wasn't signing up for the mastermind, think about it, Tiff. When I wasn't signing up for the mastermind, I was protecting playing here because that was who I was, playing here, playing at this
Because you
level.
mastered playing to the level you were at,
Right.
and very well, with
Yep.
lots of evidence
Yep.
and abundance.
Yep. Success. Yep. So think about it. I resisted going to the mastermind. I went, I was excited. I was all in. I had that next level of success. I would say next 3 or 4 levels of success. And I was like, whoa, hang on. So that full circle came around because I was protecting myself by not going to the mastermind. Does that
And
make
then
sense?
that led you to doing something, my guess is you never thought you were going to do in your life, which is run for office and win, right? I mean, was this a dream of yours? I don't think so.
No,
I would have
I
known
hate
about it.
politics. No.
And then you did that. Where did the self sabotage come in? Because I know you've told me a couple times now that you had self sabotage come up in the, let's say, 10 months since you were at the mastermind. And I think it's important for people to hear how someone who is a doer, ambitious, successful, like, we self sabotage too. Okay.
I mean,
Maybe even at a higher level.
right, right. You know what? If you know what to do, if I got the playbook, I got the playbook from one of the most successful people I know. Got the playbook. And then I'd be like, yeah, I mean, I might do that. Like, I don't want to go on TikTok. Like, I don't want to do that. And I only did what I wanted to do, which, right? That's self-sabotage. It, if
Ooh,
I, if,
oh, I'm rarely speechless. You're so right.
of course, you have the playbook. You give everybody the playbook. If you
Like
all are listening to,
literally, like truly the actual playbook, all you got to do is follow it. But if you start trying to pick and
no,
choose,
nope. You,
interesting, because I'm just thinking where I do that in my life, and I'm gonna out myself. I'm doing that with that resistance with Dr. Jordan for my physical health. I'm going, I don't want to do that with the food stuff. I'm not doing that. And meanwhile, she has the formula for me to feel how I want to feel.
right? You're protecting something. What are you protecting? This is a rhetorical question.
Well, I'm still going to answer it and then I want you to answer it. What
Okay.
I'm protecting is fear of disappointment, that I'll do all this stuff that I really don't want to do, that feels tedious and annoying, and that it still won't work, and that I am destined to feel this way in my body and look this way for the rest of my life. So it's like protection from potential disappointment.
Do you really think that her program's not going to work? Her customized program for you? Do you really think it's not going to work?
Shitload of money. And she's a private client. Like, I've known this person a long time.
You know it's going to work.
Her
You know
shit
it's going to work.
works. And and that my shit works. So why were you picking and choosing?
That's a good question. I need to think about that. Why was I picking and choosing? It's not laziness because I'm a hard worker. I think it was this. I think my subconscious mind I think we'd have to ask Brenda. I think I'm like, yeah, I don't really want it that bad. I think I want it. I think I want it. I had it, or I was really on my way. And then I was like, let's tap the brakes. So I don't know what if somebody says you do these 5 things and you will grow your business, I promise you, which is pretty much that's basically the mastermind in a nutshell, right? Like,
Yeah.
take these steps, do these things. By the way, here's my entire team to tell you how to do it. By the way, I work with many people from your team. So, right?
Yep.
So then Samantha's doing a TikTok challenge, right? I get the inbox, I get the email in my inbox every day. It says, post this on TikTok. That's what it says. Day 8, day 9. I have not posted one. Nope.
So what do you think you're protecting yourself from? Is it that even next level? That
Yeah, I
next
think so.
level of visibility, that next level of abundance?
I would imagine. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, seriously, it doesn't have to be hard. It's easy. The playbook is out there. There are many, many people that share their success and how they were successful.
Yeah.
So if we're not doing it, there's a reason. And I think I'm probably protecting, like, okay, ready? I'm just thinking of this now. I think I'm probably protecting, like, I have a great life. I love my life. I love my life. It's great. I have wonderful people in my life. I live in a beautiful setting. I can go elsewhere anytime I want. Like, I have this great, like, everything's good. And I think I'm probably afraid that if I blow that up or disrupt that, well, what's going to happen to my great life? I like my life. I would probably like it a lot more if I was, you know, doing all the
It's
other.
like the abundance cap I talk about. It's like that threshold of, well, if I go for more, I don't want to lose what I have, or impact what I currently have by going to another level. But whoever said that you're going to lose what you have by going to another level, it just gets to be better and it gets to be better and it gets to be greater.
You want to know what I think it is? I think I just thought of it. I assume that to be at that next level, I have to work harder, and I don't want to work harder. And
Which comes from all the shit that we've been
100%.
programmed and
Right.
taught,
Right.
right? You want to be this, then you have to sacrifice this. You want more success, you've got to
Mhm.
give more, you've got to do
Mhm.
more. And you also have a lot of evidence and people that I'm one of them, that that's not true.
I know myself it's not true. I grew my business from X to Y to Z, and I did not work any harder, and in fact, I worked less based on the principles.
Do
I
you
did.
see how we're all insane?
Nuts. We're all crazy.
This is the insanity. It's not that people who you see as being further ahead than you or more successful than you are less crazy. In fact, we might be even more crazy.
Oh, you're definitely as crazy as you pretend to be. I mean, 100%. There's no question. Like, 100, yes, 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 yeah,
So where
yeah,
are you at now? Because wow, I feel like you've lived 10 years in like a 10-month period.
I have. I
I
have.
mean, this is insane. So where are you at now, like on the balancing of your personal brand,
Mhm,
which your personal brand is directly tied to, you being in office. Obviously, it's you, it's Nancy, right?
mhm.
Where are you with balancing those two things? Like, have you found a balance? Have you determined what you want to do with the public speaking side of your business so it feels good to you?
Yeah, yeah, I have. So I allocate a certain amount of hours every week to the government business or the political business. And it's not like, oh, well, I put in my 5 hours. I'm gonna, it's I try, like, I allocate the work for the town stuff to specific days of the week. That's how I process.
Do
That's
you
how I
like
bucket
have
it.
like an office at the town hall?
Well, it's interesting you say that. I don't. However, I have office hours every week and I do them at town hall because this is my corporate background. Because every Thursday from 9 to 11, that's where I am, unless I'm traveling for work, for business. Every Thursday, that's where I am from 9 to 11. It helps. I get up, I get dressed, I go in there, I meet people, I talk to people. That's my day that I'm there. I get a lot of work done there. And that's like that batching, when we
Mhm.
record multiple podcasts or all of your social media or whatever the case may be. So I have a couple days a week that I dedicate to the town business. And with my speaking business, it's coming back. The 12 weeks that I was, totally focused on town, that impacted my business. I'm not gonna come on here and say everything was great and I was managing both. I couldn't. I couldn't. So that's coming back. And
So the
I was,
pendulum is now finding its balance, which
yep.
you guys, this is very normal when we go after new things. This is how you find your balance is when
Mhm.
you go one direction, that doesn't feel good. The other way, that also doesn't feel good. And then you find what uniquely feels good to you. So when
Yeah.
you say it's coming back, like what feels good to you? What have you learned that feels abundant for Nancy?
So more virtual speaking gigs. I still go on the stage. I mean, I'm doing that. I think I have like one a month for the rest of the year booked now. Some and other things will come in. And no more than like two a month live. No more than two in-person speaking events per month.
And are
And
you still coaching other women on developing their speaking career?
yep, I'm still doing the executive coaching. I have a speaker school that I'm doing, which is a very abbreviated version because I truly believe in my soul that everybody deserves to have their story heard. Everybody. And when you can step into that story, whatever your story is, that's then you're living your truth. And everybody deserves to live their truth. And every single woman I work with in speaker school, every single one has a story that they are afraid to tell, that they're afraid to every single one of them. And some of them, every single one of them. And once we break that down and figure that out, and it's it's powerful. It's
I
powerful.
I have to add this, and I just remembered a conversation we had last week that even though Nancy has the proven playbook on getting paid speaking gigs, having this career, has this amazing school, and she's not like me, she ain't cheap because you don't get cheap results, okay? Like you want to work with the best, you got to, put in some coin. And even though women have made the investment, there is a much higher percentage than you would think who throw out the playbook and self-sabotage, even though it's being handed on a platter. And I think it's because of the fear of telling that story. What do you think?
100%. It is more women than not don't finish. They don't finish.
And I
Prepaid.
want you guys to hear this because this is not unique to Nancy. This is literally in any specialty of coaching, of online e-learning, of people I work with. More people don't complete it and bail out than those who do. Those who do, when you're working with someone like us with the actual receipts in the playbook, have the results. The other people take themselves out of the game.
They do. They do. I can't get over how many people.
That was one of the most eye-opening things when I came into the online coaching space, because I don't feel you get to see it as much, me doing like corporate speaking, corporate coaching.
Right.
Because online, when you buy a program, you can tell when people are showing up, right? Like it's different. You have more metrics. I was shook over it because I'm someone, if I'm investing, and I'm not talking like $90, okay? I might not show up at that, but I'm putting in real coin. And I know you're the same way. I might sabotage myself in other ways, but I'm showing up. I'm showing up. I'm taking notes. I'm asking questions. I'm an active participant. I'm shouting out the experience. I'm all in. So it blows my mind and it's absolutely normal. And a lot of people, you can take it personally, like, oh, maybe they don't like my program or my coaching or my teaching style. No, it's across the board.
I'm going to give you two examples. One woman, let's call her Cindy. She signed up for my speaker school. She did all the work. She reached out to me in between. I have unlimited Voxer in between. She would Voxer me like daily almost. I'm like, you Voxer me more than anyone. And I love it. Good for her, right?
Yeah.
She was like a sponge. Did all the work, shared drive, redid it. Program ended. She's still emailing me. Like she is in it to win it. Out of the blue, with no effort on her part, she got 3 inquiries. People wanted her to speak, right? This is no marketing. She hasn't marketed any of her
Because
speaking.
she's in the all in energy.
Same program, different person, showed up for the first 2 appointments, didn't first 2 coaching sessions, didn't come to the last one, persona non grata, haven't heard from her. And I see what she's doing and on, on LinkedIn and social media, and she's just kind of doing the same.
Staying stuck,
Mhm.
staying in place.
And you know what? Fine. Okay.
That's not on you,
Right?
right? Just
No.
like it's not on me what you chose to do after I've given you the playbook. Who would you say, in your own Nancy Blunt way, who would you say truly is like, it's a no-brainer. You need to get out of your own way. You need to fucking go to the mastermind. It's already over 50% sold out now. Who would you say is like, this is the right move for you?
Oh, that's a really good question. You need to think about, are you truly ready to raise your game? I'm not talking about working harder, because you're not going to work harder. You will not work harder. You will work smarter because you have the playbook. Are you really ready to raise your game? Is your business a hobby or a jobby, as Tiff likes to say? Is your family on board with this? Is there some resistance that your family might be giving you if you have kids or you're partnered up? If you really want this, there is no reason for you not to go. None. And when you go, it will change your life. It will raise your game. It will raise, not only will it raise your vibration and all of that, I've made lifelong friends in that mastermind that I still, I pod swap with them. I talk to them. I hired half your people. That now they work with me as well. I'm in touch with 3 or 4 women that I met there. We're in touch on a regular basis. And you know what? I can't slack off because they're in my life and they're not slacking off. And it's that next level. And if you really want to get to the next level and stop playing small, you got to go.
You know what I think another way people subconsciously self-sabotage. This is why Brenda Johnston, she is truly my personal subconscious energy coach. She's going to be there. And I think they're sold out. We're offering like an upgraded VIP spot where you get an in-person private session with her, which is that alone is worth it and would change your life. Okay. You already heard an example of like what she even just casually said to Nancy. And I'm so blessed where I get these casual things all the time. And I'm like, it's really not so casual. And I have done this form of subconscious self-sabotage, and it just came up. There are a lot of people who will go buy tickets and attend these basic ass networking events, these rah boss babe events, and telling themselves, oh, this is great. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to move the needle, maybe even going to like a Tony Robbins thing. And I'm not saying that's not nice to get like pumped full of motivation and excitement, but you're not getting the playbook, but you're tricking yourself into thinking you're doing something. So you're taking toe dipping actions and tricking yourself into believing you're actually taking high level actions that will get you to the next level.
So this is literally, I'm a great example. I went, I did the work. I did the work when I left, and I had the next level of success within weeks. Done. There's no secrets. There's no secret. Like this is just, Here's what to do. Here's how to do it. You go do it. You will have that next level of success. And if you're hesitating, I would recommend that you look inward and think about whether or not you really want it. And if you don't, that's okay. Great.
And get curious. What is this resistance, right? Like instead of going, well, if I'm this resistant, it must be that I don't want to go, it's not for me. That's not necessarily true in any area of resistance in your life. Like me writing my book. It's not because I don't want to write a book. That's not what that resistance is. The resistance is the ultimate fear that I'm going to do all of the dedicated time and the writing and the discipline that takes and carve out all that energy from my life and pour into that and all the shit that I'm going to have to relive telling these stories from my childhood. There's no way your shit doesn't come up when you're writing a book, right? And do all that. And then, like, no one's going to even fucking read it and it'll all be for nothing. That'd be my worst nightmare. And that's an example right there of resistance. But ultimately, if I want to write the book, it's on me. I got to just do it.
Right? That's it. Write the book.
It really is as simple as this. The complex stuff is our minds and our craziness and us getting in our own way.
Mhm.
So I want people to make sure they're reading. At the very least, you need to listen to Nancy's podcast, but you also need, and I know you're like, I don't need another fucking email. Listen, everyone reads Nancy's emails. I read Nancy's emails. You want a dose of like straight up talk, just like what you got today in a quick format, and it's delivered to you right when you need it. I'm telling you, it's worth it. And I literally only read 5 people's emails, and that's it.
Do
And
you
that's
know
going to
why
be,
I
I
send
mean,
them out?
that'll be in the show notes.
Do you know why I sent it out when I sent it out?
No, why?
Because you taught me that Wednesdays are the day when people are most likely to like quit their job, or they're the most frustrated, or they're the most vulnerable. I learned that from you.
Yeah,
I
from
used to send
your
them on a Friday.
for your particular segment of people.
Mhm.
That's so, so true. So everything is going to be in the show notes where you can go follow Nancy, listen to Nancy, get more of Nancy, join her public speaking school. I would not send you to anyone else. I 100% vouch for her receipts on top of it. She's taught on my emotional based sales techniques, which naturally those are also incorporated in everything that she teaches you as well. So you can get all that information. And obviously, you want to learn more about the mastermind. You want to just rip the band aid off and do the damn thing. I would not wait any longer. This is the final shot to get the pre launch pricing of $1,000 off. These spots could be sold out by the time that this is airing. I have no idea, but you can go to projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind in the description here on YouTube and Project Me TV, and also in the link in bio on my Instagram and TikTok at Project Me with Tiffany. Regardless, for the love of God, make a move, right? I mean, make a move, do the thing. If you're wanting what you say you want, do something. What do you say, Nancy? What's your
My
final like bottom line for these people?
It's time to stop thinking and start doing. Just do it. Do the thing.
Love you. Appreciate you so much.
Love
And you're
you.
crazy. I
Mm,
get you're kind of crazy. This is only kind of crazy, quite frankly, that I want in my life. And everyone who works for me is crazy as well. I mean, and I know you can attest to this. You
totally.
agree,
Yes.
everyone?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.